Welcome our fantastic speaker, Ms. Julia Klein. She is going to be presenting the little-known 7-minute network marketing strategy that can be used to immediately grow any business. Julia was in the top 1% of the worldwide sales force for Mary Kay Cosmetics and has spent the last several years as a marketing consultant to 7-figure businesses. She's also the best-selling author of The Entrepreneur's Guide to Sleaze-Free Selling. I believe you have a copy in front of you on the table. And join us as she shares the secret weapon for tremendous success, which she promises you will all master within 7 minutes flat. Can we put a stopwatch on that?
Sure.
All right. Without further ado, Ms. Julia Klein.
Thank you very much. And I'm just going to start an audio recording over here. Thank you very much. I said to a few of you that Minnesota sort of feels like my second home. I live in Chicago. In the city, on the lake. I can hear the waves inside my house, which is awesome. I've lived there for 17 years. But I went to college at St. Olaf, and I spent summers as a kid up at Leech Lake. So coming to Minnesota very much feels like coming home. So I really enjoy being here. It's one of my favorite places to travel to. As Teresa said, what we're going to be talking about tonight is the 7-minute sales secret that changes everything. And given the fact that I wrote a book called The Entrepreneur's Guide to Sleaze-Free Selling, one of the questions that I get asked an awful lot on interviews and at these kinds of things is, well, Julia, what is sleazy selling? And my definition of sleazy selling is anytime you're trying to get somebody to buy something that they don't really want or need. Another way of thinking about it is when you are approaching a sale from your perspective rather than from your customer's perspective. And by the way, I see that some of you already have pens and paper out. That's awesome. This is definitely going to be a writer-downer kind of a night. I'm not going to spend this whole time talking at you. I want you to get a lot of benefit out of this. So I'm a teacher by trade. So I love it. This is called classroom-style presentations. It suits my personality very well. And so a lot of people say, well, I'm not sleazy. I don't do sleazy sales tactics. And the problem is that so much of what passes for sales in my book is actually very sleazy sales tactics. And the majority of the world sort of thinks, well, that's just what sales is. And the problem is that sales gets a really bad rap when it's salespeople doing the selling. Because salespeople, generally, by definition, are very money motivated. They're going to do what they can to close the sale, and they didn't create the product. It's not their job to deliver the product, and their only mission in life is to get as many people as possible to buy it. And because that's what most of us think of as sales, that's where it gets a very bad rap. But when entrepreneurs, creators, are the ones who are doing the selling, that process of introducing your work to a person who might get benefit from it can actually be a very transformational process for you and for them. And we're going to talk about more about this as we go through tonight, but it's a very different way of looking at sales. How many of you have heard the idea that if you want to make a sale, the first thing you've got to do is solve a problem for your customer? All right, that's kind of sales 101. The reason, in all my years as a consultant and sales trainer, I have almost never encountered a business owner who actually was solving the customer's problem. Most everybody thinks that they are. If I said to you, come out tonight, what I'm going to teach you is how to solve your customer's problem. Wouldn't a lot of you say to yourself, I don't need, I do that, I know that, I understand how, I understand I need to solve my customer's problem and I know how I do that. I guarantee that none of you actually do. And the reason is because your customer actually has 3 distinct problems. And this is going to be the meat of what we're going to talk about tonight. And understanding the difference between these 3 problems is going to make all the difference in your sales. The first problem is the problem the customer knows they have. And I'm going to go through all 3 problems at first, and then we're going to go back through, and I'm going to have you work on it for your business. The first problem is the problem the customer knows that they have. This is the problem that they're complaining about when they're talking to their girlfriends, when they're talking to their husband, when they're talking to somebody at the bar, right? revered copywriter by the name of John Carlton always says that you want to talk to your customer like you're belly up at the bar with them. Like, what are they talking about when they're belly aching? It's also the problem they're typing into Google. They're looking for a solution. They're actively seeking a solution. It's the problem that they know that they have. That's only the first problem. The second problem, and forgive me for the slides, I actually created this slideshow presentation tonight, and it looked okay, and then I realized, oh crap, I created it in Keynote, which is the Mac application, and this here is a PC. So in the last 15 minutes, while you all were out there having wine, I was in here real fast copying stuff over into a PowerPoint presentation. So the slides are a little wonky, I apologize. The second problem that your customer has is the problem that you, the expert, understand is the real problem that they have, or the underlying cause. And when we begin to talk about this problem, what we're getting at is, what is your particular expertise? What are the things that your customer doesn't yet know or understand fully about the nature of their problem that you can teach them? I'm going to get into that as we discuss the second problem. The third problem that your customer has is their emotional pain. Sometimes we refer to this as the problem of the problem. It's the thing that, it's their emotional motivation for making a change. So we were talking out there before I started scrambling to reinvent my PowerPoint presentation, that anytime anybody, anywhere in the world, buys something or sells something to somebody, it's because they want change, right? Anytime you buy anything, it's because you want change. You go to Starbucks, you buy a coffee, it's because you're craving sugar and now you have it, right? Or you buy a weight loss program because you got a little extra and you want to get rid of it, right? Anytime you buy anything, if you didn't want change, you wouldn't spend your money and your time and your resources investing in something, right? You would just stay homeostasis exactly as you are. And with little things, there's less emotion involved. You know, or when you buy toner, it's because you were looking for a new supplier of toner. It's because you're irritated that freaking guy messed up your order for the third time, and actually you think that you're overpaying. So it's not a huge, irritation is the emotion. The key with this one, as we're going to talk about in a minute, is that the problem, the real thing, the emotional factor, the impetus for making a purchase is an emotion. That means that when you're doing your marketing around this, you need to use emotional words. You need to use words like irritation, anger, sadness, despondency, frustration, revenge, right? Okay. As I said, we're going to do some exercises to get into these, and I introduced them first so that you can begin cooking in your brain about this a little bit. Because at the end, I'm going to give you an opportunity, one, maybe two of you, depending on time, to do a little laser coaching, because I am fast with this stuff, and create some real results in helping you to improve your marketing and therefore improve your ability to get what you do out in the world. Let me take just a moment to tell you a little bit beyond what Teresa shared about me. She told you about some of my credentials, all the stuff on my media kit that sounds impressive, but all basically it's the ways that I learned sales. I learned most of what I know about how to sell in Mary Kay. In fact, at one point, shortly after when I ended my Mary Kay business, I was interviewing for a job with Xerox. And they told me that the reason I got the interview was because I had been a Mary Kay consultant. And because he said, you know, within the realm of corporate sales, Mary Kay is extraordinarily well regarded as a training ground for salesmanship. I learned a lot there. Then I became a real estate salesperson, and I learned an awful lot about selling belly-to-belly, mano-a-mano, face-to-face sales. Shortly thereafter, I did the eBay thing. Teresa mentioned I became a titanium power seller on eBay, and I did that by bringing as many as 10,000 page views per listing per month to my listings. A titanium power seller means I was selling $100,000 a month on eBay. And that means I was bringing traffic. So I mastered the online thing, how to bring traffic, because it wasn't eBay traffic. We brought 95% of our traffic was from outside of eBay. We brought it to our site within eBay. So that's why I did the online thing. And then I became a speaker. And I was invited actually to speak in Australia, making an international speaker, and learned how to do this style of education and presentation and inspiration from stage. And then when all of that sort of wrapped up, I formed myself as a consultant. And the reason for that is that throughout this entire period, I have actually, about 10 years ago, I began a profound spiritual path. And what started it was that my mother died when I was 32. She was 62. And she died of brain cancer, being sick for 2.5 years. And it shattered my world. Because up until that point, my mother had been my rock. And she was, I always said, she wasn't my best friend, she was my top advisor. So I had become a millionaire by the time I was 30, and I always said that the reason that I was able to do that is because I had my mother to run ideas past. And as she was dying, I remember saying to a friend, I don't know how I'm ever going to make a good decision again for as long as I live. I'll help my mother to talk to about it. And so after she died, it just sent me into a tailspin. And I continued living my life at the pace of Julia, but unfortunately, I made some very bad investments. I ended up losing my entire fortune. I didn't file bankruptcy, but I basically went bankrupt. I lost the motel, I lost the miniature golf course, I lost all the vacation property, I lost all the cash. And more importantly, I lost my self-confidence. So I thought, wow, I remember typing a letter to my spiritual teacher at the time, and it dawned on me in this moment. This was in January of 2006. January 2007, that even though my life was a disaster, I had completely botched my entire career, my professional path. I was in so much debt, the foreclosures were starting to avalanche on top of me. And clearly I was an idiot and had made bad decisions. It dawned on me that I think I must also be the one who has to fix it. And it seemed paradoxical. Like, I'm the screw up that screwed it up. How can I also be the wizard who's going to fix this? And it became a profound spiritual path to discover how it is that I can be the person who screwed it up so badly and also be the person who can fix it. And because of having gone through all of that, it makes me a far better coach and mentor and woman, and it gives me a much firmer ground to stand on to talk to all of you about the things that you've gone through and the self-doubt that you've experienced. Because I've gone through a very hard-fought path of learning what my worth is. And as this applies to what we're doing here tonight, my understanding is that at core, successful selling is about understanding what you're worth and who you're worth it to. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Knowing that you have tremendous value for the people who need what you have to offer. And then inherent in that understanding how valuable you and your products and services are, having the courage and strength to hold your customer's hand through the very difficult and sometimes painful process of deciding to do business with you. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more at the end. We're going to talk about how to close sales. But ultimately, I now understand that my work in life is to bring together these two things. This spiritual transformation, this path of personal development, which I have been on, and now I have discovered I am quite gifted in catalyzing radical transformation in others through a variety of spiritual modalities that I use. I channel messages, I manage energy, I hold space. I'm also a very good listener, and I ask insightful questions. So I blend what you might call very metaphysical things with very kind of tangible but high level personal development things. And bring that together so that you can be better at being you. And in so doing, offer more of you to the world. Grow your business, earn more money, all the stuff that you want, right? That's how we bring it all together. And that's the tip of the iceberg of what I talk about in the book. Because Teresa said, so you're telling me that you are this corporate sales trainer and also you're shaman? That's so paradoxical. And I said, yes. Well, it turns out that the way to achieve sleaze-free selling, it's not an easy trick, is what it boils down to. And it requires profound internal transformation in order to truly come from a place of service when you're offering yourself to the world. So.
I used interesting, just for the record.
You what?
I used interesting.
Interesting?
It was interesting.
What did I say it was?
Paradoxical.
Oh.
That's too big a word for me.
Oh, okay. So, now we're getting to the fun part here where you all are going to start to dive into this a little bit for yourselves and start to wrap your brains around what this means. So the first exercise, we're going to talk about your customer's first problem. To refresh your memories, your customer's first problem is the problem that he or she knows that she has. It is the problem that she is complaining about, that she is typing into Google, that she is lying awake at night thinking about. And the reason that this problem is critical for you to nail is because your lead generation hinges upon it. When you are doing lead generation, when you are going out into the world, tossing out your line and saying, here's who I am, who might like this? What you must do is use words that match where your customer is. You must say the exact words that they are saying in their own head. You're wide-eyed with that, Lois. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down your customer's problem, but put it in their words. Put a quote around it. Be your customer and say, this is what my problem is. And I gave you a sample here. So I feel angry about how long this divorce is taking, and I want it solved without costing me another $100,000, for example. So I emotion about the situation that sucks, and what I want is my solution without the negative. So give that a try. I'll give you a minute or two of quiet work time to work on that. Looks like about half of you are done, so I'll do maybe another 10 seconds for the rest of you. And we'll move on. So now we're going to talk about their second problem. And your customer's second problem, to refresh your memory, is the problem that you, the expert, understand is the real problem. And this is where entrepreneurs shoot themselves in the foot. This is where people say to me, oh yeah, I understand my customer's problem. What they're talking about is this one. 95% of the time, when you, the expert, tell me, this is what my customer's problem is, you can't help yourself, unless you've been trained by a highly skilled marketing strategist, you can't help yourself but go deep and go analytical and go detailed about here's all the details about the problem and here's where it came from and here's what I'm going to do to fix it. You can't help yourself. So in this exercise, you're going to kind of go nuts on that. You're going to allow yourself to go deep because, of course, there is a role for that aspect. You need to address that second problem also in your sales process. And the place that you are addressing that, the real nature of their problem that you, the expert, understand, is when you are in the phase where you are overcoming objections. You're explaining the features of what it is that you do. And what's important about this is that you are not doing this in your lead generation. For instance, you're not doing this when you are chit-chatting over a glass of wine, unless you've moved to the side and you are now embroiled in a deep conversation and you've hooked each other, right? In response to, so what do? You don't give them this, because they don't care about this unless they care about this, right? So, and this also is where we get at what makes you the best solution for your customer. What's unique about you? Why are you? Think about what it is that you sell and ask yourself, why is it that somebody should buy from me instead of anybody else? About another 15 seconds. Okay, now there is the third problem that your customer has. The third problem is the pain, the emotional motivation for wanting to make a change in their life. What's sometimes known as the problem of the problem. And this, when you do it right, is touchy. It's a very raw and vulnerable place for your customer. And so in terms of your marketing and your sales funnel, you might not ever even actually mention this. But understanding it and internalizing it in your brain is so important to authentically connect with your customer, because you'll use a phrase here or there which communicates, I understand. And not only do I understand, I therefore can help you. That's what your customer is looking for, especially for those of us who are in more heart-centered businesses, or what we do is something out of passion, especially for those of us who are coaches and consultants of various kinds, right? We and our customers are craving that authentic heart connection. And most often, the place that you find it is in your past. You look at the journey that you have walked. I was just sharing this a little bit earlier with Teresa. I'm writing another book. The next book is called Sleeves Free Selling for the Intuitive Businesswoman. And it's my understanding, it's my knowing, that those of us who are heart-centered entrepreneurs, who do what we do out of passion, have been down a very hard road. We have been through challenges that we wouldn't wish on our worst enemy. And we are at some point of getting through that. Some of us are still fighting the fight and having a hard time waking up every morning and not knowing where the money's going to come from, or not knowing where your next date is going to come from, or whatever the situation is that's got you struggling. And some of us have come out of it. And once we have come out of the other side, we've gone through fire, we're forged into iron. Now it is our role to turn around and help those who are coming behind us. And this process of fighting your fight and doing your struggle and going through the hard things that you have been facing in this life is certainly a path of personal development. I would go so far as to say it is a spiritual path. It's what your soul is called to do in this lifetime. And going through that path, fighting that hard fight, and now turning around and helping others is a continuation of that path, that journey. And so when you are asking yourself about your customer, what are her problems? How can I help her? What is that pain that she's suffering from? Often, the best place to look is inside yourself. Because you've been down that path, you know, you understand what those challenges are, right? Like when we get into the laser coaching sessions, we'll flesh this out a little bit with some examples. So, a question a lot of people ask me is, how do I know who my customer is? And you know, Julia, you're being so specific here. How do I know you're like, gosh, you're getting into these deep, deep, dark things, right? How do I know? Well, I told you about the second one. Look at your own path, your own set of problems that you've been through. Another way of identifying this is to look back over the last 30 customers you've had. Depending on your business model, maybe it's 10 customers, maybe it's 100, a sampling. Your last 3 to 6 months worth of customers. Look back at them and ask yourself, what were they suffering from? What were they struggling with? And this is actually a great strategy for a whole lot of things that we do around ideal customer. And I'll take this moment to interject that if you're loving what we're doing here tonight and you want more of it, I do have an opportunity for you to get more of it. I offer training and consulting. And the training that I offer is in the form of an online course, which is like a choose your own adventure for coaching. How many of you have ever in your entire life bought any kind of a home study course, like a box of CDs or a set of notebooks or whatever, right? Okay. And how many of you have one of those that maybe you didn't get all the way through? You didn't use it all. Has anybody ever not used something that they bought? I know I've got a few dusty, shrink-wrapped packages on my shelf. The cool thing, and we were talking about this before most of you arrived, that having been in this path and in this journey and in this world of information marketing for some time now, I noticed that so much of what's out there is like packaged products aren't very useful. And I specifically designed mine in a very different way. I call it the choose your own adventure approach to marketing training. Meaning, inside of my program, I ask these insightful questions. Now, I'm not there to help you answer them, but just being asked them triggers your mind, and it really helps you to see, oh yeah, okay, I guess I am over here instead of over there. And based upon what you learn about yourself, then you pick different modules of the program to dive into. So it really becomes like a customized path through, I call it the consultant in a box. It's my absolute best attempt at doing what I do for my high-level consulting clients in a packaged product that makes it much more affordable than the 15 grand that I charge to start with private consulting clients. So yeah, I can't remember where, I think we're finished. Oh yeah, when we're done, I'll talk to you a little bit more about that, how to get started with it, and so on and so forth. The other question I get a lot of times is, what if I can solve lots of problems? Again, Julia, you're niching me down here. I'm feeling squished into a box. I can do lots of things for lots of different people. Okay, that's fine. And that makes for lousy marketing. So these are kind of out of order. The first one, we're not talking about who you're actually going to sell stuff to. Like, if you decide what I'm really good at is helping women who feel angry at their soon-to-be ex-husbands for taking advantage of them. I don't know, just as an example, right? If that's who you're, helping as a life coach, well, but I can help women who are still married. Well, okay, you can take on someone who's still married as a consulting client if they come to you, or as a coaching client if they come to you. But in your marketing, you are going to shine a spotlight on how great you are at solving a problem for this person. The reason is, number one, it's an interesting trick of psychology. Being an expert makes you incredibly magnetic. So when you do delve into this work, and by the way, this outline that I've just given you, these 3 questions, this will be fodder for the next 6 months for you. This is powerful, powerful, transformational stuff that I've put at your feet, and tonight you'll get a bit of it, especially whoever it is that gets a little bit of consulting or some laser coaching. But this is a process that you're going to chew on and work through for several months, hopefully. That is my hope. You'll take what I've given you tonight and use it as a launching pad for doing a lot of good work on your business for some time. And what you'll discover is that as you hone in on, this is what I'm excellent at, and as you get really good at expressing it and being able to describe in a couple of different ways, this is what I do and here is who I do it for. You just simply by stating it that way, you become an expert in the eyes of people who hear you. And because you have such incredible credibility as that expert, even if the person who hears you is a little bit different, they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, I know you told me that what you do is you help women who are going through a divorce work with their jackass ex-husbands, but I'm not going through a divorce, but my husband's still a jackass. Can you help me with him? Right? And then you say, sure, yeah, of course, no problem. So that's the interesting twist with this. When you make yourself into an expert, people are drawn to you. And the third one that I want to emphasize, if I could wave a magic wand over you right now and plop 10 new customers in your lab in the next 3 months, is there any one of you that would say, meh, drop in the bucket? That doesn't move my balance line an inch. Or did pretty much all of you say, 10 new customers, holy crap, that's awesome. That makes a big growth in my total business, right? Because none of you are in the market of selling screws, where you need to sell thousands of them with a 1 penny profit margin. I haven't had the chance to talk to all of you, but just by the nature of what this organization is all about, people that come to you you only need a few. So the point being, don't need to be all things to all people. If you need 10 customers, how many people are there in the Twin Cities? I don't know.
4 million.
4 million. Holy crap. So there can be 3,999,990 of them that you get to exclude. And you only need 10. Right? So you can really niche down and focus. This is exactly who I want. And when I get that person, this is what I'm going to do to change your life. Feel the chills with that? I do. I get chills all over when I say that, right? Okay, what's next? I don't even know what's up next. Oh yeah, laser coaching. Who wants to do a little bit of this? Who wants some help? Lois, first person to raise your hand. Awesome. Okay.
Way to go, Lois. Way to be a path setter.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to go through your 3 customer problems. Very briefly, tell us, just so we have a frame of reference, am I the only one who's really hot? Some of you are warm. It is warm? I get hot speaking, but holy crap, I'm going to take my jacket off.
No, we haven't said that.
Okay, so tell us, in brief, what do you do? Just so we get a general sense of what your business is.
Well, I have 2.
Okay.
And I'm here as a wellness advocate for doTERRA essential oil.
Okay.
And so my passion is to teach people how to take control of their health.
Okay, so I'm so glad you said that. Hear my heart. Nobody cares what your passion is, right? I hear this all the time when people are introducing themselves and saying like this. They say, I am so passionate about blah, blah, blah. I say this with love, nobody cares. What they care about is what you can do for them. That's what they care about. Okay, so you sell essential oils, in short.
Yeah.
So here's another tip, this is a great writer-downer. When somebody says to you, what do? You need to have an answer that is 10 words or less, okay? Because people, they want to put you in a box. Like, I am really freaking complex. right? Like, I mean, there have been times when it's taken me 5 minutes to explain who I am and what I do. Now, because I'm blending two really weird opposite things, right? Now, all I say to people is, I'm a corporate sales trainer, small business marketing strategist, and intuitive energy healer. So I'm not trying to talk about how I blend it all in my intro. Like when people say, what do you do? They want to put you in a box. Are you an attorney? Nope. Are you a vet? Nope. Do you sell essential oils? Yes. Ah, great, got it. Know who you are. Okay, now we can keep talking. Does that make sense? So come up with something that's less than 10 words. What I do is. Okay, first question. What did you write down for what your customer is saying when they are complaining about their problem? The one that you saw.
Oh, that's where I had some issues there. I had two, just one conversation earlier this afternoon was, I have a gal is frustrated about the length of time that it has taken for her divorce, but she's just getting frustrated.
And she's an essential oil customer?
No, she's not. No. So, but she's.
So you mean she's a customer in your other business?
Yes. Well, actually, she's really not. She's in my mastermind group.
Okay,
So there you go. This is where I'm, this is where I'm coming from today, my
Okay.
mastermind group. So it's like.
okay, so first thing, and this might, the first thing is, for those of you who have more than one business and more than one endeavor, you need to unbundle. Meaning, so now, just because somebody is, what's your mastermind business? What's that business? You got essential oils over here, and what's the second one?
Oh, no, this was just a mastermind group I was at today. My other business is an electrical contractor.
Is as an electrical contractor. And this gal who has the divorce issue, she's a member of your mastermind?
Yes.
And you're thinking that she might be a good candidate for your essential oils?
Yeah.
So she's a prospective customer for your essential oils? Okay.
It's called out.
And so I have never heard about essential oils being used to calm rage at your jackass soon-to-be ex-husband. Is that a use of essential oils?
Yes.
Didn't know that. Okay. So her problem is, I am so, well, and I don't, there's a way, a bunch of nuances that it could be, but it could be, I am so angry at that bastard, right? And what is the transformation that she is seeking? Does she want to complete a divorce? Does she want him euthanized?
He wants.
I've never been married, by the way. I have no ex-husband rage.
Oh,
I don't know where this always comes up. But I've never been married.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
He wants money.
He wants money from her, so she's the provider?
Sort of.
Okay, so he thinks he needs alimony from her. Awesome. Sounds like a winner.
It's
So,
taken 3 years to get this right. This far.
okay, so what
It's not
she
done.
wants
So
is
she's
for
frustrated.
the divorce to finalize without him getting any money? Great. Oh, I can't go backwards on slides. I am so angry at my soon-to-be ex-husband. What I want is for this divorce to be finalized without me having to give him any money. Right?
My oils can't help the money part.
But your oils can help the emotion part, right? Okay, so that gets us, then now we get into the second problem. So what do you, the expert, understand is her real, so she probably is, I mean, she might talk about being angry, but she probably, when she's complaining, she's talking about this loser who's always been a leech and now he wants my money and I'll be damned if I'm going to give him any of my money in the divorce and it's been 3 years and we're spending all the money and I don't know, maybe I should just give it to him, and right? She's probably mostly complaining about the money, right? Does she complain about how angry she is? What does she complain about?
The length of time that it has taken, and the fact that there is no money.
Okay,
It's been a recession in that industry.
okay, so what she complains about is the time that it's taking. Okay, so that's her surface level problem. It's taking so much time, it's taking so much time, it's taking so much time.
And energy out of her.
And it's taking energy out of her. She complains about that on the side. Does she actively complain about that? It's taking so much energy out of me to go through this process?
Yeah.
She does. Okay, great. So what do you, the expert, understand is the real problem or the cause of what's going on? In a way that you, what can you explain to her? What does she not know, not understand about how you can solve her problem?
Well, she wouldn't know how the essential oils can effectively change her whole mind because of their efficiency in changing our cells and the aromatic effect of the oils on our brain and how that would affect the rage and the internal stress that is holding her captive.
Exactly, exactly. That's what she doesn't know that you need to explain to her, right? Now, if you were to just meet her in like a 5-minute networking situation and you all of a sudden just started diving in, let me tell you about how my oils can affect this for you. You're already shaking like that. No, that you know that would be a bad solution, right?
Right, but not today, because of what happened today, now I can go there.
Did you have a conversation with her about it?
Not about oils, but about this whole situation.
Okay, so what I was gonna say is that in order to take somebody that on the surface you know is a good candidate for you, or you suspect that they are, but you need to get them to the openness and being willing to hear what you have to say, the method for doing that is by asking really good questions. And now, you kind of had the conversation today to kind of open the situation, and you know that's there, so you maybe didn't go through a questioning strategy with her, but, so you lucked out in this situation.
Well, there's 5 other women, you know.
Yeah. But by asking her really good questions. And I will drop this out, it's already unbelievably long amount of time I've been talking. So these questions, taking them from, I think they could be good, to, yes, I'm willing to talk to you, is about asking good questions. Don't have time tonight to explain that to you. That is one of the exercises in my online program. So if that's something you're like, oh my God, I want that, that's in the program. Okay, so third problem that she has is the deep emotion. Because of the nature of this, we've kind of already gotten there. But what's the real pain that she's having? What's the pain of the pain?
Loss.
Lack of closure.
Okay,
Lack
hang
of
on.
Closure, that's what I was
Okay,
saying,
so-
the lack, the length.
Right. So what we can do is we can make educated guesses. Oh, we're in this situation, probably he's feeling these things. What I encourage you to do in this moment, if you're open to this, is to ask her, right now, ask her, what do you really want out of this situation? What's the real pain? How can your life really improve? Neat. And okay, so you know that it's the closure. Okay, so the answer that I got is that she really would like to restore a peaceful relationship with this man.
She wants him gone. Not dead, but,
Not dead.
well, maybe it would be, yeah, I suppose. Because she doesn't want him niggling, you know, after. Yeah,
Right.
This is true, you are right, you are right.
So on the surface, she wants him gone because at the moment he's a big pain in the ass. But what she really wants is like, let's not fight. We were married. You're not a terrible person. Let's like get back to so we can be, restore. Not like we're gonna be buddies and go vacation together, but that's what she really wants. Right? Okay. So that was just a little parlor trick. What?
I think you got 4 or 5 married women who know that is not it.
Okay. So like I said,
She wants some relief from having made a mistake
That's,
and feeling that, she's wasted time with a person that she felt was her life partner. That's a hell of an emotional realization that you've had to let go of something that you felt was going to be a part of you forever.
but then you're looking for peace.
And that will give you that peace. You have to resolve that.
Right.
well, like I said, we can all we
I know.
can take stabs and and
Who knows?
do all that kind of stuff. And what I wanted to demonstrate is kind of the parlor trick of using intuition to tune in. And I can do it very quickly, but also so can all of you. Do any of you utilize your intuition on a regular basis? Okay, so you know that you do this. There's an exercise in the program that we did just a teeny version of it just now, which is called Awaken Resonance with your ideal customer. And in it, it's a full meditation in which I have you and your ideal customer come to the table energetically. And you are able in that space to hear what's really going on for your customer. And I take you through a lengthy process of writing down all their pain and problems. And then from that space, when you're in this really deep, wonderful, juicy, connected heart space with your customer and the problems you can solve for them, then I have you start writing sales copy. It's a really powerful exercise. So it's like I said, this is the baby step of it. It takes it to a whole new extension. Okay, yeah, we're like at 5 to 8, so I probably need to wrap this up. And one last thing that I want to do, how many of you would like to get better at closing the sale? Would you like to learn about that? Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to teach you in about 5 minutes how to get better at closing sales. And the way that I'm going to do that is that I'm going to close you. And did you feel everybody kind of went, oh, that's uncomfortable, right? And we all feel that way about closing the sale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through my close, and then I'm going to afterwards break it down for you and explain to you what I did, how I did it, and how you can apply it to your situation, okay? So first thing I'd like you to do, if you're willing, is to just close your eyes. I'm going to ask you one simple question, and you're going to get a very quick answer. It'll be yes or no. And just notice the answer that you get. And the question is, if my course or my services were free, would you love to say yes? Would you love to take it? Yes or no? You know your answer? Open your eyes. What that does is it lets you know, like, yeah, I do kind of this is exciting, I love this would be great, I would love to do more of this. Oh, but God, how much is it going to cost? Right? Which is the primary struggle that your customers go through. Remember when I said earlier that when you understand your value and you know who you're valuable to, your calling is to have the strength and courage to hold your customer's hand through that very scary road. Because once you say to your customer, would you like what I have to offer? Put money aside for the moment, or if it's time, maybe your thing is time, put aside the big obvious objection. Do you want it? Because sometimes I say, no, I don't want it. Great, thank you for telling me that. No hard feelings. Hope you got a lot out of this session. Go have some fun. No problem. I say, yeah, I would like it, but oh God, big objection. Great. Now, you take your customer by the hand, because what's really happening for them when they feel that, yes, I want it, it's their objections. They might think like, oh, it might be too expensive. It might take too much time. I've got too many other things going on in my life. In reality, especially when you're talking about transformational kinds of things, what's really coming up for your customer is, am I going to do what I need to do in order to create transformation? Because we all know, no matter how good the diet commercial is, you're not going to lose the weight if you eat lots of fattening food and you sit on the couch. Ain't no way that's going to happen. You have to do something to change. You all know, no matter how good my course is, nothing's going to change in your business if you're not willing to take some new actions. Whatever it is that you all sell, your customer knows that their life won't change unless they are willing to do something different with what you're able to offer them, right? So that's that first thing. Okay, so what I'd like to do is you know, yes or no, if this were free, that you'd like to continue. So I've got a few order forms here. There's not enough for everyone. So if you got a no, pass the order forms on. Don't take one. If you got a yes, take an order form. And let's talk a little bit more detail about what this might involve. Because yeah, it's not free. However, it's also not terribly expensive. The online program that I've been describing is 2 payments of $98 or a single payment of only $188. So quite inexpensive for what it is. It details here on the sheet what all is involved. There's 4 modules, and they take you through everything that you need to know about how to be more effective at selling your services. The first module is about follow-up marketing. how to convert more of those leads and get more sales out of people that have already bought from you. The second one is removing blockages, and this is both practical blockages as well as emotional or spiritual blockages. This is a very, very powerful module, very unique. I've never seen anybody offer anything like it. The third module, make them an offer they can't refuse without being pushy, obnoxious, or rude. In other words, let's sell. This is where we get really tactical. Tonight we've talked about some of it. In this module, boy oh boy, do we do a deep dive. How to close, how to overcome objections, how to identify prospects that are going to be good for you, how to ask questions that convert them from a prospect to someone who's willing to sit down and talk to you. And the fourth module is lead generation, how to make yourself more appealing and attractive to the right kinds of people. Very powerful. Each module is about 90 minutes of audio content, as well as a whole bunch of exercises, worksheets, blueprints, and this whole choose your own adventure questioning set of stuff. And when you invest in it, you also get a free copy of my book, which is a $20 value. Now, for those of you who understand that what you really, really want is some individualized attention, like this choose your own adventure stuff might be great, but you know you really, really want me personally, I offer a private blockage removal intensive. And this is such a cool experience for everybody who goes through it. It is, it's a 90 minutes, it's between an hour and 2 hours. They usually work out to be not 90 minutes, but it's between an hour and 2 hours, depending on what your guides want you to work on. So you come to the phone with me one-on-one, I call in divine support, and then I receive guidance for you about what we need to work on. And usually what ends up happening is we touch on whatever the main emotional thing is. It's usually something about fear, usually something about worthiness. We touch on that, get that cleared, and then we spend some time diving in on a practical level to what are the next 3 steps you need to take to grow your business. And the blockage removal intensive is $375, which is a tremendous discount. Normally I charge $625 an hour for my consulting time. So the blockage removal intensive is your opportunity at about half price to get some one-on-one time from me. And if you want it all, if you're like, hey, that online course sounds awesome, and I would love to do the blockage removal intensive, $485 for the whole thing. Plus, you get a couple of other goodies. You get a copy of the book. I've got this really cool tool. It's called Sales Blockage Self-Assessment for heart-centered entrepreneurs. All of that. In order to get that awesome good price for all of this stuff, you need to make a decision tonight. So whatever it is you want to take home with you, fill out the order form. And credit cards, I also would take a check, quite frankly, if I would want to do that. And make sure that I get it in my hands tonight. And you will get your information when we get started as early as tomorrow morning. So now I'm done with my close. I just want to go back and highlight a couple of the things that I did so that you can have them as a takeaway when you go through your closes with your clients. The first thing is I announced I'm getting ready to close you. And I did it without any shame or embarrassment or waffling. I said, here we go. We've been talking for a while. You know, let's go. Now I'm going to close you. The second thing that I did was I asked you, do you want it? Because, and it's very powerful, scary, but powerful to do it in a one-on-one situation. Because after they've spent 20, 30 minutes with you, they know, oh God, this sounds really good. Yeah, I think I want to. Or they're like, this has been nice, but I'm looking at my watch and trying to get out of here. And when you ask them that question, it makes it so much easier for both of you. And you give them the space to say, oh, it's been wonderful, but I really don't think, okay, great, no problem. And they don't even need to come up with any objections. It's just, if it was just a free land, do you want it? Then the third thing that I did was I described the offer. I made it very clear, like here's all the pieces to it. You need to do that as well. Review. This is all the stuff that you're going to get. This is where you review the features. I also threw in a couple of benefits. You need to do that as well. That's all I'll say about that. And then the final thing that I did is I gave you what we call in marketing a direct call to action. Well, even before that, I gave you a deadline or a reason why. I said, if you want these prices, you got to make a decision tonight. You can say the same thing to your people. This is something you got to take action on now and come up with a reason why they do. And then give a direct call to action. I said, if you want to take this, I didn't even say if. I said, whichever thing you want to take home with you tonight, fill it out, and make sure that I get it tonight. So I told you specifically, do this, and then you can take this home with you. You want to do the same thing with your customers. Explicitly say, here's what you do to begin to get started, along with the deadline. Is that helpful? Do you think that you can implement that in your sales process? All right. Well, thank you very much, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you. All that energy, fresh off the plane less than 2 hours ago. So thank you so much, Julia, for joining us and sharing all that. The really good stuff. Good
You're
stuff.
welcome.
So ladies, it is your time to shine. Whoop, whoop. You get to introduce, we get to know you guys. So that's our time right now. Where should we start? Who wants to start? Want to start at the back, the front? Christy, would you like to